Hey everybody, I am Dustin Bolender. I am the managing partner at Clear Guidance, where we focus on small and mid-sized law firms across the United States. And this is our hot seat video series where we are grabbing really what I've been referring to as point solutions, that they solve very specific pain points for your firm and kind of what's the latest and greatest in technology and AI. So we have Tom here from Scribe today and we're just going to jump right in. So, Tom, I would refer to your software platform as a kind of virtual court reporter. Is that the way you would describe it? If not, tell me, what do you guys do?
I mean, that's close. I don't think I've used those specific words. I think the best way to think about us is we're what we believe is the next generation of what court reporting should look like. And so imagine capturing depositions without a court reporter, without a videographer, optimizing to remote, paying half the price, getting things almost instantly, having modern video clipping and AI and capabilities, and all having a very simple user sort of experience. And oh, by the way, not getting a page of invoice with a page of line items where you have no idea what they are. It's one charge for everything, and so we kind of think it's the modern version of what a court reporting firm should look like. And I think you remember this, Dustin, but I had a court reporting firm for 7 years, and so I had a lot of good experience on what I did not want this to look like. And so that's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, and on that note too is if I'm remembering correctly, you guys kind of built this live. Like, did the Skunk Works prove out the concept inside of a firm? So this was not what we've seen a lot is these people are coming to market with these tools and they've never actually worked with law firms before. So you and the team have really deep legal and court reporting experience.
Yeah, that's a great point. I hadn't really thought of it as a skunk works, but that is what happened. So Carl Silbach is a defense attorney here in the Austin area, and Carl and I are the founders of Scribe. So I come from the court reporting side where I'm entrepreneurial, owned a business, and kind of operationally understood how that worked. Carl has litigated for I think 25 years, owns a defense firm, and so he's been in hundreds of depositions and understands, from the user standpoint kind of what's broken, what he would like it to look like. And so Carl and I met actually, gosh, I'm losing track of the years here, but it's probably over 10 years, probably 11 or 12 years ago. And actually started on the concept of, hey, we think court reporting is kind of broken. If we think it's broken, what would a modern version look like? And so we started talking about this, more than a decade ago, and never quite had the right solution until COVID came along. And so when COVID came along, that if you think about that dynamic, it changed so many people's business.
Oh yeah.
But in our space, it took all these depositions from being in person, typically in a law firm conference room, overnight, 100% remote. And so now all of a sudden, you're surrounded by native technology in the form of a laptop. Why not leverage kind of technology to do away with a lot of the expense and the slowness associated with the old model? And so COVID kind of pushed everything into a place where Carl and I had the vision and the path all of a sudden became really, really clear. It's like, okay, it effectively fast forwarded the technology discussion in the space. And quite honestly, we wouldn't be here if COVID wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. So COVID was the big turning point. What are you seeing most firms come to you and say, Tom, we want to buy Scribe because blank? What's the big driving factor for most firms these days?
Well, I mean, it's a handful of things. I mean, I think if you think purely in terms of the characteristics of I call it legacy court reporting firm, the old business model, the characteristics that exist there are it's really, really expensive, and there's dynamics associated with that, and it's really, really slow. So those are kind of the low hanging fruit on kind of what needs to get resolved, from a litigator standpoint. And some context there is court reporters as a profession, they're in shortage and it's getting worse. It's probably a 35 to 40% shortage of court reporters to satisfy the market. Schools are closing. No kids are growing up asking their parents or counselors, "Hey, when I grow up, I'm thinking about being a court reporter. What do you think?" I ask that question every time I'm on a conversation. I've yet to find anybody say, "Yeah, I know somebody that does want to go into court reporting." Nobody is really kind of chasing it, and so the profession is in decline. And this is not any sort of negative comment on the profession. They're great people. I had a lot of them work for me. I think very highly of them, but it's just the schools are closing as well, and as the average age of a court reporter, I think it's in the 50 range. So they're aging out and retiring. So it kind of, it's on the decline. The digital aspect of it has advanced so much. It is so easy to really apply modern day technologies in this setting to have a great solution. And that's what we've done.
So it's one of those things to where, there's a lot of the AI is coming for your job. This is one where it sounds like AI is coming for the jobs, and it's probably a good thing because of the shortage.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great point. I don't think I really thought that one through completely. I think it's in my mind, at least, it's less about AI taking jobs and it's more about, um, it's just a transition of a technology. I mean, we've all seen it, Dustin, right? I mean, think back to all the big changes. The low hanging fruit on that would be like Uber and taxis.
Yep. Fax to
Net,
email,
yeah,
that sort of thing.
Netflix, and Blockbuster is the biggest one used. Everybody
Yeah.
overuses that one, but technology's come along. Everybody's carrying cell phones now that are amazing. Like think about what 10, 20 years look back from just a personal device that you carried in your hand. So it's just a transition of technologies, and it and in so many different ways. When that happens, the economics get better, the speed gets better, and it kind of just totally brings everything up into a place where most of the other market exists. I mean,
Yep.
the legacy court reporting world today is decades old sort of technology that just was ripe for transition.
So going back to a comment you said earlier about, the traditional legacy court reporting is slow. What do you see, moving from a traditional court reporter to Scribe is I know one of the big things is you can get those transcripts a lot faster. Like what kind of speed are we talking? If I'm a litigator going, oh geez, I got a Zoom deposition next week, how fast can Scribe get
Yeah,
started? How quick do you guys turn everything around?
yeah. So in the typical scenario, yeah, you'd first of all you'd have to schedule a deposition. Sometimes that could be a week or two or three before you even get on the calendar. Then you have the deposition. It could be 2 to 4 weeks before you get any sort of materials back in the form of a transcript and a video. So
Oh
that's
geez.
what that process looks like. If you and I were opposing counsel, Dustin, which I hope we never are, because we wouldn't want to get into an argument much. If you and I were opposing counsel and I said, "Hey, Dustin, I need to depose a witness," we literally could get on the Scribe application, schedule it for tomorrow. Um, Zoom links, Zoom links get pushed out that are Scribe Zoom links. We're ISV partner with Zoom, so everybody understands how to use Zoom. It drops in on your calendar just like every other event in your world does today on a remote call. We would jump into the conference, into the deposition. Scribe provides a digital reporter into every one of these events. They're basically a notary that swears in the witness, makes sure it gets there early. Everybody gets welcomed into the room. They do the read on that references all the rules that tie directly to the type of event this is. Once the event is over, within an hour inside your Scribe application, you get a rough transcript. That's like
Oh
in the
nice.
95% accuracy range. It's synced to the video that arrives at the same time. You can search for video. You can search for key moments, create video clips. If you can highlight text and right click on your mouse, you create a video clip. You can create playlists. You can jump into the AI chat feature and ask anything you want to of the transcript. You can also jump into the summary creation and have a summary crank out right away. So literally, what we've seen happen, and this is one of the best use cases that we've had. We have an attorney that used us in the morning for one witness in a case. On the break between at midday between the first and the second, he jumped into the Scribe application. The rough transcript was there. He created for some key moments and video clips. jumped into the second deposition, used the video clips to advance the case and get it resolved in the afternoon. So that sort of velocity
That's a cool story.
is pretty amazing. And
Yeah.
we've had others that literally came out of a deposition, created video clips, sent it to opposing counsel. The opposing counsel canceled all other depositions because they knew that they had them. So the ability to have velocity is a big deal. The other piece I'll add real quickly, Dustin, is that we call it ASR, so it's automated speech recognition rough, comes right after the event. 5 days later, you get a legally formatted, human proofread version of it. So, the video is the official record in our scenario. You always have it just a click away. The rough is provided right away, and then a 99.6 or 7% accurate, legally formatted transcript comes 5 days later that gets delivered inside the app as well.
No, I love that. So one of the questions I was going to ask was, what's the biggest misconception on the platform? And that's a neat that it's not just a, hey, we transcribed it, that there's a little bit of, kind of deposition management almost. As I'm thinking the traditional one, right, is, oh, we got a transcript, but we're going to load it into, e-transcript viewer. Oh, where's the video? I need to check this. It's
Yeah,
very disjointed in the
yeah.
traditional model. So just having almost like you need to rebrand, man, call it, depositions as a service platform kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
That it's neat.
so that's exactly where we're going with this. I mean, one of the conversation tracks that I have very frequently is, what's different between us and the rest of the market? The rest of the
Yeah.
market is very, from a behavior standpoint, is very transactional. You can have a deposition with this firm one day, this firm another day, and there's nothing that really keeps you loyal to one from the other. And at the end of your depositions, they send you a PDF and they send you video files, and then the litigators have to figure out what to do with it. In our platform, we're envisioning more of a deposition intelligence platform where we really allow everything to exist inside the Scribe platform. And so I want to elaborate on that just for a second because I think it's pretty important. We really are focusing on how can we help attorneys before the event? Let's upload any and all content in the case before the deposition, including exhibits, previous testimony, even questioning outlines. And then while the event is going on, with the benefit of the real-time feed and insights and AI insights, that it's looking at not only the testimony as it's happening, but all the content that you uploaded, even your questioning outline, and it's giving you real-time insights as to, hey, here's an inconsistency, here's a missed question, hey, you missed a question on your outline, or hey, I'm suggesting maybe you go back and ask these other questions. So prepare better, take better, and then after the deposition, everything exists in one hub, and we're really like from this is I won't go into this, but longer term, we're really more of a data play on the back end on how people can leverage their testimony kind of around risk and trends and things like that. That's a bigger, broader conversation.
Yeah, that's a really neat one though, because I've been told stories where it's, oh, in this deposition, kind of, you gave a great example earlier, right? They did one in the morning and then going into the afternoon, it was like, oh, shoot, we have what we need to get to a
Yeah.
settlement on this. So that
Yeah.
intelligence surrounding it is a pretty substantial. Right now, I mean, I can tell you from experience that with a lot of firms, they kind of go through, they watch the video, they look through the transcripts, and then they put it on a shelf because our IT practice group gets requests for, hey, can you pull this deposition back out for us?
Yeah.
So especially these smaller
It's
firms.
it's kind of moving away from a static sort of
Yeah,
testimony approach to a dynamic intelligence approach. It really deserves more attention and more ability around it than I think been given historically. And oh, by the way, a litigator is who's visioning this and kind of saw that benefit. Carl is really the vision piece of what we're doing here.
yeah, that's always perfect too. That nobody's going to understand it better than the person that
Oh
understand the
yeah,
problem than the person that's living it day to day versus you or me comes in that we can't relate to Carl on that kind of
yeah,
thing. So,
yeah.
all right, I got a harder question for you.
Oh
What's one
no.
big maybe misconception or thing that gets asked where you're like, nope, we don't do that?
Um, well, we don't do any courtroom stuff. I will say
That's
that,
probably a good important one to say.
yeah, I mean, and I do think at some point we will do that. We're optimized for remote depositions. And so because it's really the technology is designed around the audio channels. I mean, you understand this better than anybody,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Your audio stream, my audio stream are very clear, distinct. And so when you have a transcript that has Q&A, there's no question when you said this or I said that. A lot of times what we'll get is somebody will say, "Hey, I'm going to use Scribe," and they put a notebook in a conference room and everybody's in the same room. It's a little challenging in that environment, but we do have a workaround with it, and it adds more cost to it, but it does allow for the capture of the audio channels. And what we do is we provide a videographer in the room. So in person, if I had to say one thing, one thing's a
Yep.
challenge for us. In person has been historically something we've stayed away from, but we've got a national videography firm. We've onboarded them. We've got that whole model working out, and in certain markets, we're rolling that out currently. So that's the path we're going down on in person.
Awesome.
That wasn't so hard, Dustin, by the way. I'm really disappointed. I thought you were gonna throw a harder one at me.
Nope, that was you were had a good answer on that one. But that was an interesting the in-person part because yeah, I could see that absolutely being, hey, we're, a virtual remote deposition platform. Oh, could you come in person for this? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't want, litigators to go off and call other vendors if they don't have to. So we know
yeah,
we need to provide it, and so that's what we're doing. And it works great. Like, I think all of the conveniences and the features that the Scribe application has, I think are more than justified spending another $100 an hour or whatever the number is when you do an in-person one.
gotcha. All right, final question. What's kind of the next big? I know you've talked about some of the stuff you guys want to do in the future around the in-person. Any cool new features or releases coming up soon that you can talk about other than that?
That is a good one. I mean, our roadmap, is pretty healthy. It goes quite a ways, out. I think that the thing that we really see an opportunity for, when I mentioned the deposition intelligence platform and before the deposition, the ability to have the Scribe application assist in building the questioning outline before the deposition. Right now, you can upload everything into the platform, but I think the outline piece of it is one of the things that's next in front of us. We just launched and rolled out the real time feed and the insights that during the deposition you can actually see all of that all that AI and insights. But I think it's really on the front end is where we're going to focus more and more. I will give you a little bit of hint more about what we're thinking. Um, One of the concepts that we're working on is I don't know if this is the right word, but it's kind of a propagation idea. It's where law firms can collaborate inside the Scribe application on the legal document. So say I'm an attorney, I'm analyzing kind of the transcript, I find certain things and I go, you know what, Dustin, you're co-counsel, we're in the same firm. And I say, hey, Dustin, I want you to take a look at this inside the Scribe application. I'm going to be able to share with you kind of access inside it where you and I
Oh,
both
cool.
kind of like how Google Doc manages it.
Yeah.
So that's something that we're leaning into because we do think that the more we kind of empower attorneys to win, for lack of a better
Yeah.
word, the better it is. And again, we're leaning into that platform concept pretty heavy. We really think that's the play, and that's what's different about us than everybody else.
Yeah, that collaboration aspect is great because there's not a lot of legal technology that that comes up on the document management side, but there'll be other ones where it's hey, I'd love to collaborate on X, Y, and Z. And it's just man, there's nothing out there that will
Yeah,
let you do that cleanly. So,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
thanks for coming on. And if everybody's wanting to find you, how do they get a hold of you? How do they get a hold of Scribe?
So obviously, you can jump on the website. It's www.scribe, and that's with a K. That's KRIBE.ai. Or you can email me directly. Love to hear from you directly, and it's tom@scribe.ai. Hey, Dustin, thank you
Awesome.
for including me. It's good to see you. I know we're overdue to see each other outside of a Zoom call, so I appreciate
Yeah.
the opportunity and look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah. Thanks for jumping on.